Financial markets in Nigeria closed this Thursday for Maulud holiday. Federal Executive Council, FEC, approves 4.519 billion naira for roads and education, just as President Muhammadu Buhari launches 2021 Armed Forces Emblem Fund. NISAL Microfinance Bank gets framework for 75 billion naira youth fund disbursement, plus U.S. holds up Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala's appointment as World Trade Organization's Director General. This is Business Express and it is reaching you from Abuja, Nigeria's capital. I am Leah Katun Babatunde. A very good morning to you from Abuja, Nigeria's capital. The federal government of Nigeria, through the Federal Executive Council, says it has approved 4.519 billion naira for the award of contracts for printing of examination materials and rehabilitation of road networks within the satellite towns of the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja. This was disclosed at the end of the 21st FEC virtual meeting presided over by President Muhammadu Buhari at the Council Chamber Presidential Villa, Abuja. The Minister of Education, Malam Adamu Adamu, explained that 2.9 billion naira is for printing of materials for basic education certification exams, senior secondary certificate examinations, and the National Common Entrance.
Basic education certificate examination, the senior secondary certificate examination, and the National Common Entrance. As you know, because of the recent disturbances, we have postponed the examinations that have so far not taken place.
So the Minister of the FCT, Muhammad Bello, said 1.6 billion naira contract for the rehabilitation and upgrading of some selected roads in the satellite towns of the FCT have been approved.
Complementary to what the FCT administration is doing in terms of providing even development in the city center, which is the capital city, as well as the satellite towns, so that distribution of population and amenities can be done in line with the Abuja Master Plan.
Also, President Muhammadu Buhari on Wednesday presided over the launch of the Emblem Appeal Fund for the 2021 Armed Forces Remembrance Day celebration. The event, which took place at the Council Chamber of the Presidential Villa in Abuja, saw President Buhari launch the emblem with a sum of 10 million naira.
We are quite aware that it is our responsibility to provide a conducive environment that is devoid of security threats. I want to reassure Nigerians that security, being one of the pillars of this administration, will continue to be at the forefront until peace and security are restored in the country. We will create an environment in which Nigerians and foreigners are guaranteed freedom and returns on investment.
The launch holds annually to raise funds in honor of the nation's fallen heroes. The framework for the 75 billion naira for NISAL Microfinance Bank has been put out by the Central Bank of Nigeria to commence disbursement in the Nigeria Youth Investment Fund. In a statement, the CBN said the Nigerian Youth Employment Action Plan is developed by the Federal Ministry of Youth and Sports Development as a built-in strategy to respond effectively to the youth employment challenge in Nigeria. The major objectives of the plan were to address fragmentation of youth initiatives that prevented assessments of impact and to provide Nigerian youths with investment inputs required to build successful businesses. The framework is to enable youths to become sustainable employers of labor and contributions to Nigeria's development. The NISAL MFB window will be funded with an initial take-off seed capital of 12.5 billion naira. Now, the dollar held gain against a basket of major currencies on Thursday as escalating coronavirus cases in Europe stoked fears across markets that fresh lockdowns would further hit the already fragile economic recovery. Let's now see how the naira is exchanging for the international currencies. Now, today on Surviving COVID-19, we bring you a story of a 28-year-old fashion designer who, despite the challenge posed by the pandemic, has been able to sustain making a living as put together by Olayinka Ojo.
Surviving COVID-19 series is brought to you in partnership with the Central Bank of Nigeria.
Knowing the condition of Nigeria, there is no job outside, so I'm very, very happy doing my tailoring job because the profits part, it's encouraging, and there's nothing like being yourself boss, being self-employed. No, I've never regretted it for once. I'm very, very happy doing the job. I'm very, 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 very happy and excited doing the job. No matter challenge, like this place I am is not mine, and truly there are a lot of challenges when it comes to there are some machines that there are some things that I'm supposed to put in place. Had it been the place is mine, there are some things I need to put in place. So one of my major challenge is getting a shop and then getting some other machine like this weaving machine. Yeah, so all those things like that. So they are my major challenges. Wow, I'll be very, very happy, and in fact, my my ambitions and what I'm actually looking at will be fulfilled because I'll get a shop of my own, and I'll be able to create employment for other people. Yes, because I would have to bring in some other people to work alongside with me, and then that's a means of employment for other people.
Surviving COVID-19 series is brought to you in partnership with the Central Bank of Nigeria.
Today on the program, we continue counting the cost of the EndSARS protest. The aftermath and the insurance industry is what we will be looking at in this edition of the program. Joining me is an insurance expert, Ekerete Olegamikom. You're welcome to Business Express.
Thank you very much.
So how has the insurance industry been in the few days we've had to grapple with COVID-19 at first, but now we have more pressing issues occasioned by the EndSARS protests?
Okay, it's been a season of crisis, and it's also been a season of opportunities, because insurance has probably never been discussed in Nigeria the way it's being discussed now.
True.
Now everyone is talking about what could have been, what it is, and how do we go forward. And so it's really an interesting time for me personally, because this is the thing I've been talking about. You know, let people, you know, recognize that insurance has got a role to play in their lives. You know, and you can see that there have been so many people who wish they had insurance at this time. And unfortunately, insurance is not something that you can have when something has happened. It's when something hasn't happened that you hold it in view of what may happen. You know, and so you've got people calling in now to want to take insurance, you know, and it's just interesting. It's just interesting. Now, the real issue is, how is the insurance industry responding? You know, and so you've got the insurance industry leadership coming out to assure Nigerians that the insurance industry will settle genuine claims. And when they say genuine claims, I mean, we need to understand that genuine claims means that, you know, you've got a contract with your insurance company. And so if what you've suffered meets the terms of those contracts, then you will enjoy insurance. If, however, it doesn't, then you might just wonder if there was any need for you to take insurance. Let me explain further. I mean, if this is talking about riots that has happened all over the country, things have been damaged. And can I tell you that even the warehouses that you saw, you know, what happened, ought to have been insured. I would guess they may or may not have been insured, because we have warehouse insurance. So you can imagine if there was insurance and that happened, you know. So the cost is huge to insurance. But if your insurance did not have what we call an extension of the riot, strike, and civil commotion in this circumstance, then you might not enjoy the benefits of it.
I was actually going to ask you that in some quarters you hear that the insurance policy we operate here does not have covering for circumstances like the one we have now, which is very unprecedented.
That's not correct.
Okay.
That's not correct. The correct thing is that, you know, we've had riots in Nigeria prior to now.
Yes.
I mean, several years ago, people understood the need to have, you know, extension of insurance on your car, for example. If your car has got comprehensive cover, you need to have extension of riot, strike, and civil commotion, you know, at an additional premium. All right? And same thing with properties. If you've got properties, I mean, it comes with the standard cover of fire and special perils. However, you've got to read your policy and be sure that it's there. It's not when something happens, you will now realize that, oh, it ought to have been there, it wasn't there, we agreed, but you didn't put it, and all of that. See, what Nigerians need to do a lot, you know, is try and move away from the ignorance of insurance. I don't know, I don't understand what you people say and all of that. And insurance operators also have got to try and move closer to trust. Getting people to trust that when I have a claim, I can be paid. You know, the moment I think that if I have a claim, I may not be paid, I don't have a need for insurance. I would rather keep it. When I have that problem, I solve it myself. And people have acted as safety nets for people in this country. But we are saying that, look, let's do what we know will not put us in a position of begging. Have the insurance cover. When something goes wrong, you got your insurance, you know, company to pay. And same thing with government. I mean, let's look at the subnationals. There's no governor in Nigeria that is not literate when it comes to insurance. And so I expect that when we go out to speak about things that have happened, we should be talking about the fact that insurance will take care of this. Governors should go on these tours with insurance and risk professionals. I mean, even when we set up panels, insurance people ought to be in those panels. When we set up things to do business, spend money, insurance should be there to tell us ab initio that this may happen. When this happens, this is what we'll do.
Will you be able to quantify for us the amount of settlements we're looking at?
Now, in terms of, I mean, settlement of what will happen will always be a function of what was the value covered. So if you had goods, I mean, property worth 200 billion covered, if that was the value of the property and it's completely wiped off, that's where the discussion will start. So at this point, it's difficult for us to say, oh, it's going to be, but it's going to be in billions of naira. Yes, because a lot of, you know, properties were affected that also, you know, are valued at billions of naira. And some of them were completely wiped off. You know, so that's what it's going to be. Right now, we may not know, because the way it happens also is, don't expect a lot of claims to be settled this year. We will send loss adjusters there to inspect, verify, and ascertain what has been lost. You know, it's unfortunate that insurance will suffer because we are now going after everything has been cleared. Sometimes you can reduce the cost of the claims if you get there in time, and you can still recover some things. But as it is, days have gone, and then people have not even reported, and when they report, Some other people may have entered the environment and taken care of themselves. Like we
So
have.
now, if these settlements, as you said, some will lag into next year,
Yes.
maybe a majority of them,
Yes.
how has it affected the forecast and projections for the industry in Nigeria this year?
Oh, of course. You know, we're just coming out of the COVID issues, and that had its own effects. And I was speaking with a CEO of an insurance company recently, and he said, look, what we're just trying to do this year is try and make sure that we achieve the profitability target that we had so that our shareholders will still be happy. How is that going to happen with this? Now, the numbers for this year, you know, in terms of claims, the way it happens is that, yes, it's been reported and captured. However, the spending of it, you know, will be next year. But it's also in the financials recorded as, you know, claims reported. All right. So claims reported will be there, and then when it's settled, it's at a different time. So, and don't forget, the financial books for this year will not be audited until early next year. And by the time the books close, I mean, all of those expenses would have gone in. And I need to remind us that last year, insurance spent over 360 billion on claims, out of making almost 500 billion only from gross premium, you know, as gross premium. So these numbers for insurance are not looking good. And what we need to do is to get more people, because insurance is a business of numbers, to get more people to do insurance.
I was going to ask you if this new wave of violence we've seen and carnage that we've witnessed in the last few days, if it's posing any new risk to insurance, and of course, if the insurance industry might be looking, would you suggest the industry looks for more products to get the buy-in of more people, just as you've pointed out?
Yeah, of course, we are in the season of opportunities and crisis, like I said. And so there are opportunities for new products. There are opportunities for new ways of distributing these products. You know, I can tell you that when you look at it, the youths of Nigeria are not even insured. You know, because we don't have products that attract them. A guy wants to insure his phone. His phone is as valuable to him as a house for a baby boomer. And so he wants to insure his phone. And you tell him, oh, sorry, we can only insure your phone if you add it to your properties in your house. Where is the guy going to get that property? So I mean, sometimes we have to think away from what we know traditionally. And that's why I'm saying that we need to also, from a regulatory point, you know, let a lot more of micro insurance happen, so that people can see, oh, I've got this is what I want to do for insurance. It's 200 naira per month, it's 200 naira per week, and I'll pay and move on. Rather than continue to have a situation where you're trying to do insurance and it's got to be 1 year, and if you don't have all the full premium to pay, then you can't do insurance. You know, so we've got to make it affordable, you know, accessible, and we've got to make it available for people. That's what people expect.
How do you see, before I let you go, how do you see this working to the advantage of the industry in ensuring deeper penetration?
Oh, of course, when you create something that people need, people will come. And the greatest problem that the industry has today is what we're dealing with now, claims. So if people are paid their claims, and they know that when they have insurance, if they have claims will be paid, they will come. And when they come, you engage them, you know, even with their complaints that they're making, you engage them, you know, you respond. More will come. But when we have issues that we're not responding to and they can't trust it, then there's a challenge.
Okay.
You know, so our opportunity now is to ensure that as people that were not even insured, by the way, can get what we call ex gratia payment from insurance. And we need to encourage that. Insurance companies have to be ready to lose this year to gain in the future.
Wow.
That's how we have to look at it.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay, so so I hope the losses would also be fruitful, as you have said, in the future. Yeah. And this is where we're going to end this discussion.
Thank
for
you
now.
very much.
Thank you, Mr. Ikeriti, for coming on the program.
Thank you so much.
And it was always nice to have you here.
Thanks.
Okay, great. So it is holiday in Nigeria, and Nigerian stocks aren't doing badly this week. rose to a 9-month high on Wednesday, with the consumer goods index rising by 5.67% despite curfews and unrest last week. Industry watchers expect investors' sentiments to increase in the coming days. And away from home, shares in Asia Pacific fell in morning trade on Thursday following an overnight plunge on Wall Street as coronavirus cases continue to surge in the West. Bosley Abel completes it.
The sustained increase in coronavirus cases seen in the US, across Europe, as well as in Asia, likely weighed on investors' sentiment in Africa on Thursday. Most stocks in Africa opened in negative notes. South Africa's JSE Africa Top 40 was down by 3.29%, Tunisia's Tunidex 0.25%, Namibia's overall index 4.1%, and Nairobi's oil share also depreciated by 0.08%, while Ghana's GSE Composite was marginal. Shares in Asia Pacific fell in morning trade on Thursday, following an overnight drop on Wall Street as coronavirus cases continued to surge in the West. Hang Seng Index fell 0.38%, Nikkei declined 0.37%, while Shanghai Composite was fractionally higher. European market dropped amid reports that Germany and France are preparing a new lockdown restrictions to curb a rapid resurgence in coronavirus cases across the continent. U.S. stock futures rose in early Thursday morning trade after the worst day for the market in several months. Futures tied to the Dow Jones Industrial Average gained 291 points. Those for the S&P 500 and the Nasdaq 100 also traded in moderately positive territory. Bosley Abel, Business Express.
Now quickly to some updates from the World Trade Organization's election, where yesterday a lot of Nigerians and of course observers across the world waited for an announcement, but that was not to be. About 79 countries across the world joined Nigeria to await the official announcement of Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala as the first female and African DG of the World Trade Organization. The Office of the United States Trade Representative issued a statement indicating the United States' stand on the selection of the next WTO Director General. The statement indicates that the U.S. supports the selection of Korean Trade Minister Yoo Min-hee as the next WTO DG, who is described as a bona fide trade expert who has distinguished herself during a 25-year career as a successful trade negotiator and trade policy maker. She is also described as one of the skills necessary to be an effective leader of the organization. She's described to have possessed that, and she is believed to have the capacity for the needed reforms in WTO. Now, gold was little change on Thursday, trading near a one-month low hit in the previous session as fears of the economic impact from a fresh wave of the novel coronavirus in Europe kept the dollar around a one-week high it hit on Wednesday. Of course, we've come to the point where we end this edition of Business Express. We value your feedback, so keep the comments, observations, and suggestions coming. Be informed that all previous episodes are available on YouTube on the NTA's channel. You can also communicate with us on Twitter, and the handle is NTA News Now. Don't forget to use the hashtag. It is BizX. Business Express returns Friday at 3 p.m. I am Leah Katung Baba. Today saying stay safe.